All right, y'all. We are live. We are back, ready, locked, and loaded for another very special edition of the RTJ Show podcast and vidcast series. I'm your host, Julian Smartrimple here. Shout out to all of our listeners that are tuning in, especially for our behind the scenes smart jewels that are getting exclusive access to our episode today. Shout out to our wisdom listeners and also our Twitter space listeners. We appreciate y'all being able to ask some behind the scenes Q&A questions to my very special guests who we're going to bring on shortly. But if this is your first time joining us, my name is Julian Smartrimple, King Jewels here. We are the RTJ Run the Jewelz podcast show and lifestyle vidcast series. If this is your first time joining us, the RTJ Lifestyle Show was created to spread inspiration to young professionals and millennial entrepreneurs who want to learn wisdom on how to shine brighter in their careers or their businesses. And so if you are a millennial, we appreciate you rocking with us. If you are a Gen Zer, or even if you are a part of the new alpha generation, or even if you're in between as a Zennial, we appreciate you rocking with us. But we still got love for our baby boomers. You can still catch us on all platforms that you listen to your favorite podcast. Just search for the Run the Jewelz podcast show. And then we've, as I said before, recently introduced our exclusive behind the scenes live Q&A on Twitter Spaces, on the Wisdom app, which is what we use, and then even on Clubhouse, we're testing out some things so our listeners can get exclusive firsthand access to our guests before their episode premieres. And so if you have any questions for my very special guests, feel free to list them in the comment section below at any time of today's interview. We'll do our best to answer any questions that we may have. And then finally, if you're interested in being a guest on the RTJ show, feel free to also click on the link that we're putting in the comment section right now. If you are a dynamic king or queen that has a phenomenal testimony in your career or in your business field that you work in, or that you have created your business product or service, you can have our team look through your interest form and see if you have what it takes to be on our next season for RTJ. And so without further ado, we're getting ready to start our episode for today. The title of today's episode is How to Establish a Lifestyle Brand as a Travelpreneur. And so you're going to be learning some key tips and some key jewels from my very special VIP guest today on how she established a lifestyle brand and also is, I want to say, even a travelpreneur, someone that travels and also is able to get paid for traveling and has started her business and her brand from her passion and also her zeal for travel. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you all to my very special VIP guest. I came across this queen by way of the Reels community. Shout out to Monty, who created the Reels community by way of Facebook and Instagram that teaches content creators like myself and my very special guests to be consistent with our Reels and to be consistent and strategic with our content. And I told her when I saw some of her reels, I had to have her on the RTJ show to drop some jewels with you all on her journey in starting her lifestyle brand. And so without further ado, I want to introduce you all to Miss Anna DNA. Anna, how are you doing today?
Hello, everyone. How are you doing today, Julian?
I'm doing well. We appreciate you coming on to rock with us and share your jewels of wisdom. We usually start off, Anna, by having our guests let us know, Anna, where your hometown is, where you're originally from, also where you're currently streaming with us today, and then tell us why is this an important subject for you to share with our audience.
So first and foremost, thank you so much again for having me up here. I really appreciate it. And I'm so grateful to be able to come on here and add value to all the listeners that are going to be here. So my name is Anna Dene, everyone. I am originally from Paterson, New Jersey. So I grew up there my whole life. And then for college, I moved to Connecticut. And I've been in Connecticut ever since. So the past few years, I've been in Connecticut, currently streaming from Connecticut. Usually I'm on the road, but this week we had some business moves to do, so we needed to be in town. So that's where I'll be streaming from today. So why is this topic important? Honestly, with this day and age, entrepreneurship is so important. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody should have their own business, but it does definitely mean that everybody should have some type of ownership. And I'm really hoping that today I can give value to people for them to really see why it is important to have some type of ownership, whether you don't want to be a full-time entrepreneur or you love your 9 to 5. It's very important to own something and have some type of stream of income and influence that you can control and someone else doesn't control it. So I'm really hoping that people will get that value today through our conversation.
Absolutely. And shout out again to Patterson. We have a lot of listeners that rock with us from Jersey and also from New York. But definitely, we appreciate you, Anna, from coming here today to share your jewels of wisdom that Anna is going to drop with you all. For those who are just listening in on Wisdom or on Twitter Spaces, here with my very special guest, Anna DNA, who is going to be talking to us about her journey in establishing her lifestyle brand as a travelpreneur. And so if you have any questions, Wisdom listeners, or if you're on Twitter, feel free to come onto the stage and you could ask any question. No question is too outlandish or out there. I'm sure Anna will do her best to answer any questions you may have for her. But Anna, I definitely wanted to start from the bottom. We always like to hear how our guests got into establishing their brand or even their business. And so, like, talk to us about your upbringings. Did you have any entrepreneurs that were already in your family? Did you get mentored or coached by someone earlier on in life? Like, how did you want to get into business for yourself and establish yourself as a brand?
Right. Well, that's a great question. And honestly, I believe that I've been molding myself into a brand from the very beginning of my life without me even knowing it. So Anna Danae as a whole wears a couple of different hats when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to entertainment, all of it kind of ties into one. So growing up, I grew up actually being a performer from the age of 2. I was just on a stage and that's what people knew me as. And by the time I got to high school, I was in pageants, I was in fashion shows, runway fashion shows, New York City Fashion Week, all those amazing things. Like that was my brand. People knew me as the performer, the entertainer, the model. That's how I carried myself. Anna Danae, that's who that is. Then I went to college and I started to be exposed to entrepreneurship. And actually someone who I was a good friend with, they introduced me to network marketing. Now it's so crazy because when I was younger, I remember meeting an African-American woman who owned a McDonald's franchise. And I thought that was so cool. And I'm just like, you know what? When I get older, I want to be a CEO. So amongst like saying, you know, I want to be an entertainer, I want to be a singer, I would just also would say that I also wanted to be a CEO as well, because I just knew like, oh my gosh, I wanted to own my own McDonald's. Like it was just one of those things. So when I got to college and I was introduced to network marketing, I was introduced to a whole new world. Like literally people from different walks of life, lawyers, doctors, you know, college dropouts, you know, master degrees, just so many people being in this realm of entrepreneurship, multi-level marketing, and owning their own business, but being able to make income how they wanted to. So I really started to open my mind to like, wow, like, and it was in the travel space as well too. So not only was I learning the importance of traveling, even though I pretty much traveled my whole life, but I was also learning the importance of entrepreneurship and making your own money. So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, I could travel and I could make money. I'm all in. And that was in 2016, and it's been up ever since then. So in about 2018, 2019, I want to say, we actually made a transition from that company. And when we made a transition from that company, it kind of opened my mind to a point where like, yeah, this company taught me so much, but I cannot depend on a company. Now I really have to build myself. I had to build my brand, because if I'm too focused on building someone else's company, although I'm making my own income, I'm making my own schedule, I can do what I want to do. I also knew that, and understood that, okay, Anna, now it's time for you to have your own thing. You are really now your own boss. You need to create something. So that's definitely what molded me to kind of go in and start to create my own business, partnering with people I initially met in 2016 through that multi-level marketing company, and it's really just been up since then.
I love it. I love it. And shout out again to all of the travelpreneurs that are out there, and even those who are coming from a network background, like Anna. I know, and I even used to work with Prepaid Legal that goes by Legal Shield now, and then also another Tahitian Noni network marketing company. And I always pride that they're the biggest entity that teaches you how to actually build up a team and also a downline or an upline for your organization. And so shout out to network marketers that are out there. Sometimes they get a bad rep, but it does teach business owners and also thought leaders how to structure your entity or your organization. And so, Anna, we're gonna let you get a quick commercial break while we highlight our VIP sponsor for today. Each and every episode, for those who are listening or watching us today, we highlight a VIP sponsor that we partner with for our episodes since last season going into this season. We always like to highlight entrepreneurs or businesses or affiliates that choose to partner with our RTJ podcast. And so let's take a look and see who our VIP sponsor is for today, you all. Let's take a look. So shout out again to our VIP sponsor for today, which comes from none other than Herb and Eden. Herb and Eden, we use it, especially and also myself, when it comes to having wellness products intact, when it comes to having, again, your soaps, your oils, your scrubs to keep your skin looking like butter and feeling like butter. We use Herb and Eden, which is a Black-owned wellness company that is based here in Atlanta. And so you can receive exclusively 15% off by clicking the link that we're putting in our comment section as one of our Smart Jewel listeners for your first purchase order. In Herb and Eden, we definitely promote them all the time when we travel. They have wellness kits and also sample kits. So you can literally test out their products before you purchase large orders. And so shout out to Herb and Eden, our VIP sponsor for today's episode. But back to you, Anna. We definitely wanted to highlight our VIP sponsor really quick before we dive in. I know when I researched a little bit more about your page, you definitely come from, like you mentioned, the fashion side of literally learning about fashion, style, and culture. And so, like, how has that influence, Anna, like your progress with starting your business and even teaching people that it's okay to not just travel, it's okay to start your business, but it's also okay to look good while you are doing it and actually have style and pizzazz. Like talk to us about like how do you incorporate the fashion side into your business?
Well, honestly, if anyone that's listening knows anything about the fashion industry, it is very cutthroat. And what's so crazy is I actually started in that realm doing competition. So it's really like competitive and you have to have a lot of confidence. So I carry that with me when it comes to everything that I do. Like if I'm getting on the stage, I'm completely owning the stage, regardless if I'm nervous, if I'm unsure, whatever it may be, I'm going to own it and have that confidence because people believe in that confidence. Like even if you have a product, a service, people are going to buy your confidence and who you are before they buy your product or your services. So if you come in without having a confidence of what you're bringing to the table, then people can feel that. Like people can read the room. So they're going to know like, yeah, she might be selling, t-shirts, but she's not confident about what her goal is. She's not confident about what the mission is concerning that. So just having that confidence to come in and look good and have that confidence about what I'm promoting, having that confidence about what I'm selling or what I have to offer is a big deal. Now, looking good while doing it is very important. And it's so crazy because my pastor literally said this last night. If you are a person of influence and you're kind of looking like crap or you're looking like, what you're doing is not making you look good, then people are not going to follow you. People are not going to want what you have or what you have to offer if you're not looking good when you're offering it or if the fruits of that labor are not good. So looking good or like carrying myself in a way that's like, okay, I'm well off, or I'm bringing that pizzazz, or I'm bringing that spunk, it's all a part of the whole brand. It's all a part of who I am and what my brand has to offer. So that's really important for anyone who really is looking to start something and is looking to go out there and be of some type of influence and sell something or promote something or on a mission. They have to come with that confidence. And I truly believe that being in that industry of modeling and fashion really helped me to cultivate that confidence to bring in everything else that I do today.
Absolutely. And shout out to all the fashionistas that are out there, just like Anna and others that are still using their passion and also their purpose in their own brand or their own entity. Because, like you said, one hand washes the other. You can't not neglect or have to feel you need to neglect your beginnings, because that's what also propels you as a business owner and an entrepreneur. Which goes into, I know, the next area that we wanted to touch on. But wisdom listeners, or if you're listening on Twitter Spaces, if you have any questions for Anna, feel free to come onto the stage because she's dropping a ton of jewels early in our meeting session today. But I know, Anna, I definitely even wanted to touch on like the faith component for what you literally are promoting and also not afraid to share via your website and other components that you market yourself, that you are a believer. And so like, how has your faith helped you in starting and maintaining your brand or your business? And how has being bold and courageous about your faith like maybe helped or potentially even hindered certain partnerships or even certain clients or in that regard?
Yeah, well, that's an amazing question, and I kind of get that a lot. And honestly, God is at the forefront of everything that I do. And that's not to push my faith on anyone, but I've seen God work in mysterious ways in my life. Now, I did grow up in the church. I grew up at Seventh-day Church of God. So every week on Saturday, I would go to New York with my grandmother and go to church every single week faithfully. And by the time I got to high school, at that age, as a teenager, you want to go out to parties, you want to be with your friends on the weekends, go to the mall. So I did kind of fall off into like until I got to college. And what's so amazing is that at that time I was able to start seeking for myself. So I started to seek for myself, and it was started really small, like, with the Bible app and, praying before I eat and just, listening to sermons online here and there. And about 3 years ago, a friend of mine invited me to church. Now, I was absolutely nervous to go because I grew up going to church on Saturdays, and majority of people go to church on Sundays. So he invited me to church, and I was just like, it was on a Monday night too. So I thought he was pranking me. I'm like, he goes to church on a Monday night. Like, I don't believe you. Like, is this service? Is this Bible study? Like, what's going on? But I went there and I honestly knew I was at the right place at the right time. Since then, I've been going to that church faithfully. Last year, I was baptized, and it has been so amazing since then. Like I literally, like, I didn't have a bad life. Like, I wasn't one of those people that said I had a terrible life. Like, I was dirt poor. Like, I just didn't have the things that I want. Like, I did not have that type of life. But I started to see my life go up, 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 up. And I know that God is the reason for that. And because I was focused on him and focused on the calling that he has given me for my life, I'm like, everything that I have to give that back. Even when it came to sowing and tithing, and people were like, oh, you give money to the church, and it's just like, well, yeah, but we'll go out every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and give money to the club. Why can't we give money to the church? So I started to shift, like, everything in my mindset started to shift when it came to money, when it came to mindset, when it came to the truth of poverty and prosperity, and that also being a mindset. And it really started to change who I was as a person, my personality. There were certain things that didn't interest me anymore, like gossiping, going out. And I'm like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going out and having a good time, but everything in moderation. So it started to change how I live my life, how I carried myself, more respectful, so that I could attract more people. And just really understanding who I am, who God has called me to be, my identity. And that really transpires in everything that I do, in my relationships, in my business relationships, in my business, putting God at that forefront, saying, God, what do you want me to do? And then understanding that everything that I have and everything that he's given me is to bless other people. So when it comes to the success that I have in my businesses, I'm like, okay, Anna, how can I use this to help somebody else? How can I use this to bless somebody else? And I know that if I'm a good steward with what God has given me right now, he's going to continue to give me more, to where my cup is going to run over, that I'm going to have no choice but to bless the person next to me. That the person next to me is obviously going to get what I have, because that's how much my blessings are overflowing. So I never really felt like, if I'm too open with my faith, that people are not going to work with me, because I understand I want to inspect what I expect. I want to attract the people who are in alignment with me. And that's what really even helped me to start my brand Virtue, which was a God-given mission, which basically was to create a community of those who are bold enough to go against societal pressures, societal norms, and really walk in the calling and being obedient in what God has called us to do. And I'm so grateful that at this point in my life, that God has given me something that I could work, focus more on the impact instead of the income, because all of my other ventures before that, are bringing in good money and supplying my lifestyle. So now I can just focus solely on, just impact for this brand. So I really put God at the forefront of everything, and I really see how that has propelled me to the next level and how it's going to keep propelling me.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, congratulations on getting baptized, Queen. I know we always celebrate people who are believers, or even those who are considering to be. We definitely applaud you for being bold and also courageous with your faith, because a lot of people, they tend to hide their faith, or they have a watered down faith in this day and age. And so, like, for those who may be listening to your testimony with that, Anna, and being bold and courageous enough to even start your ministry, like, how has your family or your friend circles, how have they changed, or even have they supported you, or did you have to cut off certain people in order to really go hard with your business and your faith walk? And, like, talk to us about any of the hurdles and any of the support that you may have gained from new friends or new family members.
So like I said, I grew up in a church, going to church with my grandmother and stuff like that. But when it came to like, my friends and stuff, I just had to take a season to see God. Like, that's just what it was. I had to take a season to see God, and I had to take a season to see what God wanted me to do. Now, yes, in that time, naturally, people did have to get cut off, because it's just like, well, this is what God is calling me to do. So I cannot really just sit here and not be bold about it, because I have to be. Like, I have to. It's like if somebody comes and does something nice for you, and you're just like, oh my gosh, they did something so nice for me. They changed my life. Like, I have to tell about this. Like I have to showcase that. Like I'm so excited. I have to share this with everyone that I know because this, like, it's something was done for me. So I think it's the same thing as that as well. Like, you know, when I know God is doing these things for me, I have to show that. I have to showcase his glory for all that he's done for me. So when it came to some of my friends and stuff, especially when it came to like virtue, some of my friends, you know, did come on this journey with me. Some of my friends are on this journey with me. But then some, you know, did backslide, some did fall off, but it's okay because when it comes to God, he's faithful, he's merciful, he's forgiven. We don't have to be perfect. But it really cultivated that community to where now we come together and have an understanding of like, okay, I'm gonna support you in this, but I also need your support. Like I need you to be that example so I can be on this journey as well. So some people did come along with the journey and some people didn't. And at first I'm just like, I did get a little discouraged because I'm like, okay, I'm on this journey. I have my friends and some of them are not they're not with it anymore. Like some of them are falling off, some of them are going back to the things that we used to do. And I remember having a conversation with my pastor and she was like, don't get discouraged. And it's true, I cannot get discouraged because there are people out there looking for me. There are other people out there that need that help and that need that encouragement. And that's what I'm here to do, just be there for the people that want me there. So, you know, for the most part, it's been very supportive. But like I said, you know, previously I had to inspect what I expected. So what that meant is that I literally had to be around people that had the same mindset or at least wanted to go in that same direction. And that helped me to do that. So for the most part, it's been supportive. Some people did fall off, but you know, that comes with pain. That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, that's a real conversation to have, even with yourself, like you're saying, Anna, that a lot of times everyone that starts with us is not going to end with us or continue with us when you're elevating to the next level. And so those are jewels for those who are listening to keep in mind that everybody's not going to be able to maintain their stature or their position with you when Yah is taking you to the next level. But that goes into a good segue. Like, talk to us about like your brand and also how you are basically building up a community, because a lot of entrepreneurs and even people who are wanting to start a business or an organization struggle with building community. So, like, what are some tips or some jewels that you've been doing in order to locate your tribe and also to build up your community?
Right. So honestly, everything that I do has a community. From, you know, our travel company, we out and about, to virtue, to even us doing like Airbnb. Like everything is about community because your network is your network. Let's just say it like that. So if you have a community of people, and you also have to have a target audience. Like me and my business partners talk about this all the time. Who do we want to target? Because everybody is not for you, but there are a group of people out there who are looking for what you have to offer. So building a community is important because when you have a community, you know that, okay, regardless if, and I posted this the other day on Facebook, that I was just so grateful for the people that consistently support me. So I'm like, to the point where if I go outside and put grass in a baggie, like they're going to buy it just because of their support for me. So having that community is important in that regard because I'm always going to support what you do just because it's you. So when it comes to your business and you want to start it and you're like, I need to grow a community, well, it all starts with your why and your mission. Because if you have your why and your mission, you're going to know who you want to target. And then those people are going to come to you naturally. And even when it comes to your hashtag, if you know that virtue is about celibacy and abstinence and you hashtag that, people are going to click on that hashtag and it's going to direct them to you because that's what you're targeting. That's who you want your community to be. When it comes to be out and about, we're talking about traveling. We're talking about travelpreneurship. So when you're hashtagging those things, then people are going to be attracted to you in that way because that's who you're looking to target. So when it comes to community, like I said, it is very important, but you have to know who you want to be part of your community because everybody is not meant to be a part of your community. So when you know what your community is supposed to look like, what it's supposed to be geared to, building a community will be very authentic and it's going to be easy to do so.
Yeah, building a community is the secret sauce. I know we've been learning it takes time, it takes authentic output of what you're doing, so you're not portraying to be someone on social versus in person when people meet you. You a whole different individual, which is literally capping out here in the streets like we see on social. And so stay with that point too, Anna. When it comes to, you speak boldly about celibacy and abstinence. And so why do you think like a lot of millennials and even Gen Zers and both of our generations are afraid of those two taboo words, and like how has that basically changed your perception and also perspective on literally the culture, whether it's speaking on Black culture, whether it's speaking on folks who are in our two generations? Like, talk to us about celibacy versus abstinence, and also like, what does that mean?
Well, yeah. So when I first started Virtue 2 years ago, when God gave me the idea, it actually was going to be called Abstain. And I remember doing a consultation with someone to help me like build it, and he told me, he was like, think of another word, because abstain and abstinence has a negative connotation to it. So, I did some research and just to see what word to go about, and then, Virtue came about. So I would say when it comes to like abstinence and celibacy, just hearing the word, people just think, oh, that's religious. Like they just think that. But one thing that I learned is that sex is like a drug, okay? And it's just like coke, it's just like weed, it's just like any of that stuff where it can become an addiction. But you also have to understand the psychology of why something became an addiction. So what is it? What's the reason why people become addicted to sex? What is the reason why, like the psychology behind people not wanting to save themselves until marriage, or even save themselves until they're in the right relationship? And I really just had to have an understanding, because I'm in a relationship myself, and we're both believers. But it can be a struggle, because when you're used to doing something one way and then you totally change it, it's very hard to be on one accord. However, God is worth the wait. That is where you are worth the wait, your body. And what we've been so used to is, oh, I'm fluid, I'm a free body, like, and that's okay, but you also have to have a respect for yourself. Everybody does not deserve to have what you have to offer, your precious body, your spirit, because it's a spiritual thing as well, which that's a whole nother conversation. But everybody does not deserve to have every part of you. And when people understand that, and really, you also have to know your worth as well too. Like, people do not really know their worth, but it also comes from upbringing. Like, sometimes people grow up in households where it's just like, you're nothing, you're trash, you have nothing to offer, and they grow up believing that. And as soon as somebody says hi to them, or open a door for them, or give you something nice, you just think automatically, oh, I have to give it up to them. And you don't. We are meant to be kind people, we are meant to be giving people, we are meant to be people who just give and love on each other, and it does not have to involve sex. So when I really started to have an understanding of that, and have an understanding, like, listen, the man that I marry is who deserves to have my body from now on out. That's what I'm saving myself for. I'm obeying the word of God. In addition to that, for people who are not believers, who do not follow that way of life, then that's fine. But for yourself, for your self-worth, save yourself. Save yourself until there's somebody there that is worth, getting that from you. So I would just say, like, for people, and honestly, like, people really don't want to do it anyway. Like, they just do it because it's cool. Like, people really don't want to do it anyway. People are not happy in some of the relationships that they're in anyway. So when you bring sex into the picture and that becomes the foundation, it really blurs the lines. So I would just say, like, if it's something that you're contemplating, just try it. And it's all about discipline, because how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you cannot discipline yourself to say, listen, I'm not going to have sex for a month, I'm not going to have sex for a quarter. Like, if you can't discipline yourself like that, you cannot discipline yourself to have your own business. And that's just how I look at it.
Yeah, that's powerful in itself. A lot of people lack discipline, men and women, but even especially in the millennial or Gen Z, the Zennial generations, like, that's a taboo word when I've come across talking to individuals that are saying celibacy, what's that? Abstinence, what's that? Like, they trying to live out there in the streets and turn up all the time. So it's like, We literally have to unlearn that type of mindset, especially
Yes,
for those who are claiming to be believers in Yahshua and also in God. And so, like, stay with that point, because we definitely got to talk about travel now, because you definitely are a traveler. You post especially very heavily in teaching people how to travel on social. Like, where are some of the places that you traveled to, and also like where are some of the places that people have embraced, like African culture or Black culture, the most from where you've traveled?
So honestly, y'all, travel is just lit. Like, I encourage everyone to travel at least once. Like, get out your city, get out your state, get out of your country, because it's very important. So I've been traveling all my life. Like, even before I got into my network marketing company that was in the travel space, I had gone to places like Italy, France, Spain, Bahamas, Jamaica. Like, my mom told me travel the world. That's one thing that she always told me, travel the world. And then I got into the network marketing company over the past 6 years. I've been on over 60 plus vacations, y'all. I literally stopped counting. But most recently I've gone to Dubai twice in the span of 4 months. DR, Colombia, went back to Jamaica. Man, I went to so many places. Literally leaving to Morocco in a couple of weeks. Like, I just travel all the time, and it's so important for people to be able to see the world. And I would say, like, the most, I don't know, because it's hard, especially when you're an African American woman. You go to some places and you're like, oh my God, who's that gonna take pictures? Like, I've gone to Mexico and people want to come take pictures. Colombia, like, people want to just take pictures. Like, especially how you carry yourself. Who is that? Like, is she a celebrity? But for the most part, yeah, I feel like it just all depends on where you go, how you travel, how you carry yourself, and what you're going there for as well. Because, for example, when we go to Dubai for business and stuff like that, people hold us at a high regard. They seem pretty nice, but I know in some places they might treat people a little bit different. But for the most part, like, Black culture, I never, and to God be the glory, but I've never really gone anywhere where I was like, I don't like how they treat, African Americans. Like, I've never been in that position, but I know people who have. I know people who've gone to Puerto Rico and it's just like, they're being discriminated against, Mexico or different. Even I've heard people go to Dubai and they're just like, the way that they treat African American and women is just a little bit weird, but it's just something that I have not experienced. But like I said, traveling is very important, and you go, you test the waters, meet new people, because a lot of times when you're traveling, there are other tourists as well. So you get to connect with them, you get to meet with them, and build these long-lasting relationships. And I think that's another reason why traveling is very important.
Yeah. Traveling is king, as I like to say, especially for those who look melanated like myself, yourself. And I've been over to Asia and also to the motherland, the two
Yeah.
biggest continents. And then my family is from Trinidad and Tobago, so big up to the West Indians and the Caribbean. But yeah, like you promote traveling, especially as a part of the culture and even as a part of your brand. And so, like, tell those who may be listening, especially with all of the disease and the viruses that we've been having conversations on the last 2 years, like, why should people get out there and travel, and especially now, not be afraid to travel and even go international? Like, what is your sales pitch for those who may be afraid to travel still in this day and age?
Well, if these past couple of years haven't taught us anything, it should have taught us life is short. So when it came to COVID, so many people died for COVID. Like, people already dying from monkeypox. And if that showed anything, it should show that you need to live your life regardless of what, because we're gonna die anyway. Like, when it's our time, it's our time, whether it's COVID, whether it's getting hit by a car, whether it's dying in sleep, like, we all gonna go one day and transition. So with that being said, you might as well go out there and live your life. Live your life how you want to see the world, because there is so much world. And I really truly believe, even with traveling, we were talking about it last night, traveling has opened our eyes to so many more possibilities. And that's why we've done it so much. And that's why we even created We Out and About, because it was a way to transform, impact, and experience. That's our three pillars when it comes to We Out and About: transform, impact, and experience. And building that community. Like, we've had people on our trips where that was their first time getting on a flight when we went to Hawaii. first time zip lining in the jungle, first time jumping out of a plane in Dubai. Like, we are giving people those experiences, and we want to continue to do so. So I would say, like, with all those things, listen, there's people, there's diseases going around right now that they ain't telling us about, right in your city, right in your state, that can kill you off faster than probably COVID and monkeypox. So I would say, don't be afraid. Like, faith and fear cannot exist in the same place. So if you want to go and see the world, go and do that, because we are going to go one day.
Yeah, and it's time to get out and really explore and also see the world. And so, talk to us really quick before we wind down with our final jewels. Like, talk to us about We Out and About, and how you've seen people like have testimonies of having their first international experience, like you were just alluding to, and even what are some of the travel hacks that you and your group are able to see when you are traveling, to get the best rates or even to get the best locations to travel to throughout the year?
Yeah, so about to be 2 years now that me and my partner came up with the idea for We Out and About. And it's so crazy because we never intended to take people on trips, to be honest. Like, we just was like, we're going to build this following. We're going to be able to go on free vacations. Like, that's what we're going to be able to do. But because we had so much influence and experience in the travel industry, and we really knew the travel hacks, like, we were able to get people on trips like Aruba and Dubai, and go to these amazing Hawaii, go to these amazing places, and give them these experiences for amazing prices. So we created that brand just specifically for that. And we've had people like say, like, this is my first flight, like, going to Hawaii, that'd be and that's a long flight. I think he's on a flight for like 14 hours. And just to be able to have that experience, like, have that experience of dinner in the sky in Dubai. Like, we're about to send somebody else to Dubai, because we curate trips for people, smaller trips, bigger trips. Like, we curate those trips, and I'm just like, man, we planned an amazing trip for them. And going to Morocco, being able to go in a hot air balloon, like, we're going to be able to give those people those type of experiences. So one of the biggest travel hacks that we have is never pay for your trip and pull out. Like, there are so many ways for you to save money on travel. There's so many ways for you to earn free flights, like getting travel credit cards and using it for all your expenses, paying it back before the report date, and earning these reward points, like, on things you're going to buy anyway, grocery shopping, Amazon, like paying your bills. Like, use your credit for everything. If you actually have the money in your bank account, use your credit for everything, pay it back, and start to see these points racking up. And before you know it, you are literally paying for your flights with points. You are literally paying for your vacations and your stays at hotels with points, without, like, you're recycling your money. So that's the biggest thing. Like, people don't, and it's so crazy. Like, people don't really know that travel doesn't cost as much as they think it does. Like, even when we brought people to Dubai, it was like people save up years and years and years to go to Dubai, and it's really not that expensive. I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at money, but it really doesn't cost that much. So I would just say, like a miss way that people think is like it costs so much money, but it really does not. And when you start to really learn how to save, and that's what we're here for, We Out and About. We'll help you. We'll curate a trip for you, really inexpensive one with an amazing experience that will transform your life and impact you in a way to continue to be able to travel. And one thing that I have learned is, like, once we give people that experience, they want that experience forever. And that's what helps us to keep going, because we know, like, listen, we can't give somebody an experience one time. We have to continue to give them that experience, and that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. Shout out to your organization and business, We Out and About, and especially for those who are not afraid to travel out here, especially now when people, as Anna said, are passing over and they're passing and transitioning on, and they never got to get even outside of their own state, let alone their own continent that they live on. And so, Anna, I know you've been dropping a ton of jewels, Queen, but we've reached our final segment, which is titled Final Jewels, where we allow our very special VIP guests to leave a jewel of wisdom or a final thought with our audience. We know you talked about how you incorporated your fashion passion into your purpose and your business ventures. You've literally been bold and courageous about your faith and also your faith walk in Yah, and then even your love for travel. And so, like, what would be a final jewel of wisdom that you would leave to that listener, or even that listener that happens to be a millennial or a Gen Zer when it comes to starting a lifestyle brand?
Yeah, so I would say the most important thing is life is to know your why. Know why you're here on this earth. And by you know why you're here on this earth, why God put you here, like that burning desire in you, once you know what that is, go out and do it, because everything that you need is already inside of you. God has given all things unto you to be able to go out and get all of your heart desires as long as it aligns with Him. So when you think about that younger you think about that younger you, that man, I wanted to grow up and do this. I wanted to grow up and do that. I wanted to grow up and see the world, or be an entrepreneur, or be a doctor, lawyer, whatever it might be, go out and do it. It's not too late. If you keep God at the forefront and you stay on the mission, know your why, and think about more of your impact than your income. Think about more of how you can be a blessing to someone else, and understand that everything that you're doing is not just for you, but the people around you. It's for the culture. It's for another person coming up to see you, just like how I seen that lady who owns a McDonald's franchise. They're going to see you. They're going to say, man, I see the Jewelz podcast. I want to be like him. It's something that he's doing that makes me inspired to grow who I am, to be a better person, to go out there and do what I've been called to do, but what my heart desires. And once you figure out what that is, go for broke. Literally, we have nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. Everything that we want is here, has been given to us for our greatness. And just walk in that confidence, that boldness, and be bold in what you believe in. Be bold in what your product is, what your service is, what you're giving to the community. Be bold in that, and you're going to see everything is going to come so easy. It's going to come easy. You're going to have favor. You're going to have all the resources that you need. You're going to have provision. Everything that you need to be successful is going to come once you know what that is, and once you know that you cannot lose with it, and you'll be well off. So that's the final jewel that I will leave for everyone listening.
Absolutely. That's an excellent jewel that Anna is dropping on us for the end of our segment today. Anna, how can people, Queen, stay in touch with you before we say a quick blessing and a quick prayer over you, for thanking you for your time with us today? But for those that want to reach out to you, stay in touch and connect even with your business, how can people stay in touch with you?
Yeah, so you guys can head over to my Instagram at _ANNA_DANAE. You guys can also go to my website at annadanae.com. You will get access to everything that I do. So my travel, you'll get a link to Be Out and About. Virtual, you'll be able to listen to our first season 10 episode podcast, even buy virtual merch. Also, We Out and About is up there. And you'll also get access to my business. You can get business consultations with me, learn more about how we're about to attain 6 figures in less than a year with Airbnb, and I'll be able to coach you and help you get started with your business as well. You can book a consultation with me. So all of that is on annadanae.com, and I am so looking forward to connect with you guys. And thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Y'all go and support this queen. She's definitely trailblazing in her own lane, especially for those who are women of color, melanated women of color that are queens, doing some big things in the travel space, and also even in literally, as she said, her lifestyle brand, her lifestyle with her faith that she's not afraid to share, that she also is a follower of Yah, and also is incorporating that into her brand. And so, Anna, we're definitely going to say a quick prayer over you, Queen, before we let you go. But for those who have been tracking with us and listening, if you feel led to sow a seed, we always believe in sowing seed in good soil where you are listening and also where you are reaping. And so if you feel that you will be able to sow a seed with us today, there's 2 ways to sow. You can Cash App us below at Cash App $SMART SMART JEWELZ, or you can click the link that we're putting in our comment section to be a monthly Patreon with us. And then even recently we added some merch to our podcast so that we can take our apparel on the international trail, which is where we're going. And so definitely click the link or to Cash App. Any donation is not too small or too large. We applaud all of the donors and sponsors, and also even the supporters that we have at the bottom ticker. Shout out to Orgain, Organic Protein, Champ Boxers, Everybody Eats ATL, Carolyn, Keon, Black Pod Festival, StreamYard, Urban Eden, Get Gains or Get Gone, Midnight Prayer Watch, and most importantly, Delta Community Credit Union and Jazz in the Alley. We appreciate all of you all rocking with us. And Anna, I'm going to say a quick prayer over you, Queen, and then let you enjoy the rest of your day, if that's okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Perfect. Father Yah, I just want to thank you for Anna. I thank you for the time that you've allowed her to share with us today for our episode. We thank you for just continuing to guide her and lead her in the way that you have called her to go, and also the calling and the purpose that you have brought her in this season to accomplish and to also bring to fruition. We thank you for the community that she's building to help lead other women that are queens and even men that are kings to you, and to also be bold and courageous about celebrating her faith and also her walk with you. We ask that you will tear down any doors that are trying to stand in her way to keep her flowing, and to also keep her opening new ventures, new partnerships, and even just new opportunities that are on the horizon. And we pray a special hedge of protection around her and her family. May you keep her protected and covered with your blood, Yahshua, and may you continue to just bless her business 100-fold for what she's put in. May she receive a return on her investment now. And we give you all the glory and all the honor and all the praise. And it's in Jesus, Yahshua HaMashiach's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amazing.
We appreciate you, Anna, for rocking with us. I know we'll be in touch, Queen, and I know you're doing some phenomenal reels. And for those who are interested, definitely go and check out the Realist community on Facebook by way of Monty, who is the King of Reels, Reelest. And I know Anna and myself will be in that community if you dare. But Anna, we'll be in touch, Queen, and you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you.
All right, have a good one. All right, y'all, I'm going to do some final jewels for thought. Thank you for those who are listening in wisdom, and also on Twitter today for my very special VIP guest. But she gave you the blueprint formula to win and to also be able to thrive. She's a young queen that's making some major power moves out in her community. And literally, she is not afraid to share her faith, and not afraid to literally take risk. A lot of entrepreneurs that are GenZers and millennials are maximum risk takers compared to some of the baby boomers that I talk to and even interview. And so you're going to have to take some risk as an entrepreneur. Everything is not always going to be sweet. It's not always going to be in the perfect season or even in the perfect storm. And so you got to be able to take risk, and also take calculated risk, and make sure that you are looking at the vision and writing your vision and making it plain of what you would like to do for your business. But for those who are interested in our services for RTJ, we do have podcast streaming, coaching, and also podcast show creation services. So if you're interested, you can go to www.smartjewelz.enterprises.org to allow our coaches and our staff to help you with podcast show creation, live streaming, technical assistance that you need behind the scenes, making sure you're able to just host and not have to worry about the bells and whistles. If you are an entrepreneur having classes or courses or even conferences that are virtual, we have what you need. And so let's talk. And so you can go again to www.smartjewelzenterprises.org. Also, we are on all podcast streaming platforms. Just search for the Run the Podcast Show, hosted by yours truly, Julian Smart Rimple, and you can track us from season 1 all the way now to season 4, you all, and then take a look and see where we're heading in the near future. Let's take a look. Y'all stay tuned. We're going to the nations, as we said from the beginning, to make sure that we are completing our vision that we set out to do when we first started this journey for RTJ. And so we are literally taking this show on the road. We're going to be showing you how to create and to maintain a travel podcast, such as the one that we are doing here for the Run the Jewelz podcast show. We're going to show you what equipment you need to take so that you can have a mobile podcast and not be standing still in a studio. And we're even going to show you how to travel and to embrace international cultures and to also embrace cultural competencies of those cultures. And so my family is from Trinidad and Tobago. Big up to TNT that just celebrated their 60th year of independence from British rule. And so we are literally international in our family. And so we're going to show you all how to be international ambassadors for your business, to show you how to be international ambassadors for Yah, for those who are believers. And so stay tuned, you all, for my business partner and also our team who are taking the show on the road. We've been to El Salvador. We've been to Dominican Republic, Mexico, Asia. We're going to Africa next year. And so stay tuned to see how we are showing you the international smart travel jewels for this next season. But I'm your host, Julian Smartrimple. Stay tuned for our next episode, you all, and thank you for listening. And we'll see you next episode. Stay hydrated, stay blessed, and make sure you shine bright like the bright diamond jewel you were created to be, because someone needs to feel and see the light that is within you. Until we meet again, peace.